you're expecting millions.
Bruce Lehrmann came to court seeking substantial damages.
Was it worth it?
And walked away with nothing.
Do you regret doing this, Mr. Lehrmann?
For the first time, an Australian court has ruled on what happened that night with Brittany Higgins.
Mr. Lehrmann raped Miss Higgins.
Albeit a ruling with several caveats.
I hasten to stress this is a finding on the balance of probabilities.
It meant Bruce Lehrmann's defamation case against Lisa Wilkinson and Network 10 failed.
I sincerely hope that this judgment gives strength to women around the country.
This is a resounding win for Channel 10, and it is a dismal failure by Bruce Lehrmann.
I woke up mid-rape, essentially.
While Justice Michael Lee found Bruce Lehrmann was identified in the Project interview, he found Network 10 established the substantial truth defence. Justice Lee spent much of his judgment focusing on credibility.
To remark that Mr. Lehrmann is a poor witness is an exercise in understatement. She told deliberate lies. I consider Mr. Lehrmann's account to be an elaborate fancy.
He also expressed concerns about Ms Higgins, calling some of her testimony unreliable.
Ms Brittany Higgins, Mr. Lehrmann's accuser, was also an unsatisfactory witness.
But said her central allegation
struck me forcibly as being credible and having the ring of truth.
Justice Lee found it was more likely than not that upon returning to the ministerial office in Parliament House,
Mr. Lehrmann was hell-bent on having sex with a woman he found sexually attractive. In his pursuit of gratification, he did not care one way or the other whether Miss Higgins understood or agreed to what was going on.
The judge did not find all parts of Network 10's coverage truthful. He rejected claims Ms Higgins faced political roadblocks to making a police complaint and criticised the network for not giving reasonable scrutiny to inconsistencies in her account.
Even though the respondents have legally justified their imputation of rape, this does not mean that their conduct was justified in any broader or colloquial sense.
Only 2 weeks ago, Network 10 sensationally won permission to reopen the case to present evidence about Mr Lehrmann's dealings with Channel 7's Spotlight program. In the end, it had little effect on the outcome. 7 did confirm today Spotlight executive producer Mark Llewellyn no longer works for the network.
What have you got to say?
Justice Lee said if he had awarded damages to Bruce Lehrmann, they would have been minimal. A case with no winners. Patrick Bell, ABC News, Sydney.
The night began with after-work drinks at a bar in Canberra. Bruce Lehrmann can be seen talking to Brittany Higgins and buying her several drinks. Justice Lee found that by the time they moved on to another bar, Ms Higgins had consumed 11 drinks. Around 1:30am, Ms Higgins and Mr Lehrmann shared an Uber to Parliament House. Bruce Lehrmann told the court he needed to collect his keys. The judge described this as an elaborate fancy.
He was a 23-year-old male cheating on his girlfriend, having just hooked up with a woman he found sexually attractive. Human experience suggests that what he then wanted to happen is not exactly shrouded in mystery.
Justice Lee concluded that sexual intercourse did take place inside the ministerial office. He was not satisfied that Ms Higgins had repeatedly said no. He found it was more likely she was too inebriated to say anything, but that she did not consent to intercourse. So, was Bruce Lehrmann aware that she was not consenting? Justice Lee found that it was established to the civil standard that Mr Lehrmann's state of mind was such that he was indifferent to whether Ms Higgins was consenting and just went ahead regardless.
As the judge put it, having escaped from the lion's den, Mr Lehrmann made the mistake of going back for his hat. Today was the full catastrophe. Bruce Lehrmann launched his defamation case against Network 10 and Lisa Wilkinson after his trial was abandoned with no findings against him. Now there are findings against him, that on the balance of probabilities he raped Brittany Higgins in the office of Linda Reynolds after a night out drinking in 2019. As the court rose, Lisa Wilkinson's lawyer hugged her, saying, "You won." But while Justice Michael Lee may have accepted truth as a defence against the defamation case, he said that didn't mean the project's conduct was justified. He said the program's suggestion there had been roadblocks forcing a rape victim to choose between her career and justice had no foundation after a proper examination. And he took aim at Lisa Wilkinson's Logie's speech, which delayed Mr Lehrmann's trial, saying it was improper and unjustified. criticising decisions made within Channel 10 about the speech. The question now is what happens next. Brittany Higgins is said to be still processing the result, and there's no word yet as to whether Bruce Lehrmann might consider an appeal. In the meantime, the federal court still has to rule on costs. That will happen later this month.